I have been telling you that Jehovah's Witness teachings are dangerous, and recently a beautiful new mother lost her life tragically and senselessly because of them. I have a lot of feelings about this. I want to share this story with you in hopes of alerting people to all the problems within the Jehovah's Witness doctrine, not only how they're dangerous for the Jehovah's Witnesses, but how potentially they can also be harmful to society, especially as we see Trump's America begin to use Christian exceptionalism to carve out our rights from the Constitution. And I'll get into that later. First, let me introduce myself, and then we'll get right into this precious young mother who did not deserve to lose her life. Hey folks, I'm Ryan, a former member of the Jehovah's Witnesses, and I've been sharing my experiences from within the organization, as well as deconstructing my thoughts on life and pretty much sharing my opinion on whatever the hell else I want to. So recently, a mother from Nigeria died after she underwent a cesarean section at a maternity clinic in Port Harcourt. After the operation, she began to lose a significant amount of blood. And this happens, I think, more often than people realize. And instead of performing a blood transfusion to save her life, this doctor said that he could not because of his religious beliefs. Do you want to take a guess at which religion this doctor was? Anybody? Right. Not surprising. He was a Jehovah's Witness. I am absolutely heartbroken for this young mother, for her husband, for the child who now has to grow up without a mom. Let's get right into the story. Victoria was not a Jehovah's Witness, but that didn't matter that day because the physician was. And even though he takes an oath to save his patients' lives, he chose his belief system that day. And her life got caught in that crossfire. Had she known, do you think she would have undergone the knife at his hands, knowing that he would have denied her something simple, something that happens far too often? Women have to get blood transfusions because they hemorrhage or they start to bleed out. Had she known that this was his belief system, had he been honest, I doubt that she would have died that day. She would have chose someone else. And unfortunately, this could happen in this country. Let's get into the story and we'll get deeper into that. Look how beautiful she is. And she's young. I believe she's 31 years old. God, she's stunning. Okay, so a pregnant woman passes away mid-operation as Jehovah's Witness doctor refuses blood transfusion. A Nigerian man, Chris Adams, has taken to Facebook to mourn the tragic loss of his pregnant wife, Victoria Paris, who reportedly passed away during childbirth after a woman doctor? I'm so sorry. I think y'all just saw my... Oh my goodness. Okay. In a heart-wrenching post, Adams narrated that his wife, who was 7 months pregnant, began experiencing abdominal pains and was rushed to Standard Maternity Clinic in the Boroki Church Hill area of Port Harcourt. According to him, the hospital had previously handled the delivery of their other children, but this time the situation took a different turn. So she even has other children. This wasn't her first. And now those children do not have a mother. Oh my goodness. He revealed that while the cesarean section was successful, his wife lost a significant amount of blood and required an urgent transfusion. However, the doctor reportedly declined to carry out the transfusion, citing her faith as a Jehovah's Witness, which discourages the practice. Y'all, I'm just so shooketh that a woman would even have the nerve to be an obstetrician. I'm guessing that's what she, to work in this field, in this practice, knowing how often that hemorrhages happen and the necessity of having a blood transfusion to save the life. I'm so pissed off That's freaking abhorrent. That's disgusting, quite frankly. Whew, okay. However, the doctor reportedly declined to carry out the transfusion, citing her faith as a Jehovah's Witness, which discourages the practice. Adams also criticized the hospital's operating conditions, claiming that power supply was lost during the surgery and the medical team scrambled to start the generator mid-operation. He alleged the family was misled into signing consent for the operation and blamed the doctor's religious beliefs for his wife's death. His full statement reads, okay. We lost our beloved to the cold hands of death. My beloved was 7 months pregnant and started feeling pains in her stomach. She was rushed to standard maternity clinic here in Port Harcourt at Baroque Church Hill. To be honest, it was at this hospital she gave birth to her other children, but this case was different. She gave birth through cesarean operation. The doctor ran an operation on her, which was successful, but my beloved lost a lot of blood and needed blood to support her life. But the doctor said she doesn't do that in her hospital because she is a religious person, a Jehovah's Witness. First, you forget your religion before running a hospital. 100% agree. I can't even believe she's the one running this hospital. So does she let anybody give blood transfusions? Would that not be against her religion because she's getting paid from running the hospital, a hospital that allows blood transfusions? Boy, that's a slippery slope, don't you think? Second, you run an operation in your hospital with a Nigerian NEPA light, which failed during the operation before they started running to put on the generator. My beloved was killed by the doctor's religious belief, and that is ultimately what took her life, because they said it was a successful cesarean section, but she began to bleed out. The family was tricked to sign for the operation because of their selfish interest. Victoria Paris, we miss you. I need justice for my beloved. I feel so terrible for this man, Chris Adams. Now he's a single father, and he has to raise these other children. He at least has 2, if not 3. It seems like he had more than just 2 before this one, because I think they said children, not child. Oh man, and see, this is his post. I had done some digging on Facebook to see if I could, just find him, but they give the post here and they show images of her. I also went and dug up some images. Look how beautiful. Here she goes. And this has the funeral, which has already passed. Yeah, it just passed this last week. Wow. Okay, so she was 37 years old. 37 years, it says. So disrespectful to her life. Oh, look how happy they are together. Yeah, I agree. That hospital should be sealed up forever. And yeah, the hospital should be sued. That's at the bottom of the picture that you can't see, but I'm just reading it from the post, the commentary. So there's a post here that adds a little bit more information. So I'm going to read that quickly as well. Tragedy in maternity hospital. Family questions circumstances surrounding Victoria Paris' death. A family in Port Harcourt is grieving the loss of their loved one, Victoria Paris, a mother of 4. Holy frickin' moly. She has 4 babies. 4 babies without a mother now, who died under controversial circumstances at a local maternity hospital. According to her brother-in-law, Chris Adams, Victoria, who was 7 months pregnant, was rushed to Standard Maternity Hospital in Borkiri, Port Harcourt, after experiencing preterm labor. A team of doctors performed a cesarean section, but unfortunately, Victoria required an urgent blood transfusion due to blood loss. However, the hospital's management, citing religious objections as Jehovah's Witnesses, refused to administer the transfusion. Okay, I'm really wondering, was it the management who was Jehovah's Witnesses? So the hospital itself, like I had said previously, will not give blood transfusions, and that's why he mentioned they were tricked into signing the consent. Family, desperate to save Victoria's life, rushed her to another nearby hospital where she was sadly pronounced dead on arrival. The circumstances surrounding her death have raised questions about the hospital's policies and the medical ethics involved. The family is now seeking answers about the hospital's decision and whether it contributed to Victoria's untimely demise. Oh, I'm so glad that we had that update. That is interesting. So we know Jehovah's Witnesses have really destructive policies. And my problem is currently we have 3 different agencies. We have the Faith Office, we have the Religious Liberty Commission, and we have the Anti-Christian Bias Task Force. And these are going to work hand in hand, in tandem, together to ensure what they consider to be the safety of this country and the sanctity of their religion. What they're really asking for is privilege. They are privileging Christianity over all other religions. The Title VI of the Civil Rights Act says that we already have religious freedoms. Everybody's religious freedom is already protected. These new agencies will act as watchdogs to go after anyone who dissents, like me. Could be my channel, could be the next atheist channel. Who knows? I don't have no idea how they will begin to roll these out. Everything is pretty vague and ambiguous at this time. But this is my point. Okay, this is where I'm going with this. Let's say in this country that people start saying, it's against my religion, as was done in Nigeria. I'm a Jehovah's Witness, and it is against my religion as a doctor to give blood transfusions. Okay? You go to the emergency room after a car accident, you are bleeding out, and the only way to save your life is through a blood transfusion, and the only person on duty, the only doctor who can do that blood transfusion is a Jehovah's Witness. And now you have to either A, bleed out, or hope that you can make it to the next hospital, right? That is what is coming in this country. We are very close to that. They are going to start decrying religious privilege and religious protection anytime a Christian feels any type of way about when they spit out their ideologies and their hateful rhetoric, how you respond. It's ultimately what is happening. They don't want any kind of criticism. They're trying to stop us from speaking out about these injustices and harms that not are potential, but are happening. And once this precedent starts getting set, we are looking at dangerous waters, folks. I'm not even going to hold any punches. And I'm not trying to be an alarmist. I understand that I'm from a doomsday cult, so maybe I'm programmed to just see things bigger than they are. But I also am very good at pattern recognition. And from what we are seeing coming down through the pike in this country is a far-right, conservative, Christian nationalist agenda being enforced slowly but surely, not only through our education system, but they are empowering other governmental agencies. They're militarizing the police. ICE has far-reaching powers than they used to. They're trying to destroy habeas corpus, so they're trying to remove due process. Literally, how the Jehovah's Witnesses label somebody an apostate. An apostate is the word that turns your mind off, and you don't think that they're human anymore. They're othered. This is how the cult mind works. Similarly, all this country will have to do is start labeling people the T word, terrorists, or start labeling them traitors, and they will have the right to deny them health care, deport them, cage them. And I've been reading about how all of these systems, the the ICE detention centers, how they're just big business. And BlackRock and Vanguard and Saks are the people profiting. It's rich people getting richer off of our bodies. It's truly what is happening. I know that I'm going from a poor woman passing away because of a Jehovah's Witness that denied her a blood transfusion, but I hope that I'm showing you the correlation and how far is this government willing to go to get rid of dissenting voices like mine, like my friends here. I don't want you to think that it's impossible. I want you to see how possible this is. And if we begin to roll over and allow it, or cower as they begin to rip people up off the streets and get rid of them without any kind of process, you are just asking for yourself to be next, because that's what happens with human rights. If only certain people get human rights, then you're just a step away from being the next one who doesn't have human rights. And when you don't have them, then you have no voice. And the more of us that have no voice, the more the rich elite take over and shove us into prisons or deport us to gulags across the sea to who knows where. That is beyond terrifying. And we have seen similar happen in history. So don't deny that there aren't parallels here. I hope you can see them. And I would be remiss if I did not show you the maternity mortality rate. And as you can see with Black women, it is almost 3 times, it probably is exactly 3 times higher, more likely that a Black woman will die during pregnancy at some point. And even for infant mortality, and for the infant mortality rates, they are about twice as likely for a Black child or non-white child to die. The rates are very disproportionate. When doctors are allowed to deny health care based on religious claims, it sets a very dangerous standard. It means that a provider's beliefs can trump or override a patient's right to live or to be healed or just to be treated with dignity. I don't think that there's any case where somebody should be able to allow their religious beliefs to deny people services. I think that it destroys the construct of our society. What is the point of society and being civilized if we just start denying people because of how they look or the color or if they're disabled, what have you? Today it's Jehovah's Witnesses, right? It's a Jehovah's Witness doctor refusing a transfusion. But what if tomorrow it's a Christian nationalist who refuses care to a gay teen or a trans adult or Muslim or an immigrant or even a Black mother, and she dies because their existence clashes with someone's doctrine? Are you kidding me? What kind of religion, what kind of God are you worshiping? It erodes our trust in the healthcare system. And again, in society, in civilization, which is really just white, westernized whitewashing of other cultures. But okay, it tells marginalized people that their lives are negotiable. Like, is medicine about science and compassion, or is it not? Is it supposed to be about power now? Is that what religion is? Just the power to deny people their existence, to deny them the ability to live? Once we start to normalize these kinds of beliefs and ideas, we're justifying the harm that they do. We're sacrificing the soul of what this country is supposed to be about, or at least what I'm told it's meant to be about. We are sacrificing our rights on a religious extremist altar. When does it end? Whose life will be sacrificed next? We know Yahweh likes blood sacrifices. So a lot could be on the way, folks. So what do you think? How do you feel? Let me know, guys. Am I far off? Do you feel comfortable walking into any kind of clinic with a healthcare concern, knowing that somebody could just turn you away and say it's their religious beliefs? I certainly don't. I don't want to live in a country like that. It doesn't sound normal to me, and it doesn't sound pleasant. It truly doesn't. Let me know in the comments. I love you guys. Please keep your eyes out on harmful religious doctrine like this. Don't just think that it's, nice people coming to your door, dressed up nice with a great message. It is a facade. It is hiding some very deep and dark secrets. I promise you that. I'll see you soon. Bye.